In Evil Dead 2013, Mia and 4 others visit their old holiday cabin. But upon further examination of the events that took place, I believe that it was all a hallucination brought on by her drug addiction. And I have evidence to back this claim. So here's what really happened. Mia Allen's drug addiction was becoming a concern for her friends and family, so she decided to run away for 3 days as a sort of personal rehab. But when she arrives, the cabin is not quite how she remembers it. So later that night, she has a nightmare. And this nightmare is a culmination of both her environment and her drug addiction. So the girl in the first scene is actually Mia.
I love you, baby.
And the way the demon controls her is a metaphor for how her drugs control her. You become a different person when you're on drugs. And this seems to be a running theme in this movie. The next day, the feeling of isolation really sets in. So Mia starts spending a lot of time outside. She even starts to imagine that her brother's there with her.
I'll be damned. You actually came.
Come on, your big brother. Of course I came.
But when she finally goes back inside, she has a mental breakdown. This is most likely a symptom of withdrawal. Her body has gotten so used to the drugs, it can't function without them. And her depression gets so bad, she gives up altogether and drives back home. But her weak mental state causes her to crash into a tree. And the head trauma from the impact causes her hallucinations to get much darker. It even drives her to suicide. But as she stood there, she imagined that David was there to save her again. Like he always did. But the peace doesn't last, because her mind goes to a dark place again. And her guilt manifests itself as demonic possession within her hallucination.
You are all going to die tonight.
But throughout Mia's life, Eric was always the strong one. This is why he survives for so long.
I missed you, man.
But this strength always caused the others to be resentful of him, which manifested in this nightmare world as her friends trying to kill him.
Oh my god! How did you do that?
And David was always the one trying to look out for her. But she was always too stubborn to accept his help. This is represented by David trying to save Mia, and her trying to fight him. And as usual, Eric steps in to stop her. But by this point, her feelings of isolation and fear had finally reached their peak. So, as she imagines David saving her, everything she kept bottled up finally comes out.
Why do you hate me, David? I know you do.
Now her mind is at peace, and she tries to leave again. But as she walks out, a bolt of lightning strikes the cabin. This sudden eruption of fire causes her to wake up. She finds herself outside in the rain, alone once again. The events of the previous night were all but a nightmare. But in her daze, she hallucinates that a demon rises from the ground. And this demon is essentially a living embodiment of her drug addiction. As he tries to run away, a second bolt of lightning hits the truck. This causes it to fall over and crushes her hand. In the end, the only way for her to overcome her drug addiction was to kill it.
Face on this motherfucker!
And as the sun rose on a new day, all her fears washed away. Her vision cleared, and so did her mind. And as she stumbled onto the road, an old man came to her aid. And that man's name was Brock Williams.
Are you okay, kiddo?
This incident brings back old memories of his son, known as the killer, Ashy Slashy. He was unable to help last time, but this time he was determined to make sure that the events of 1981 never happened again. So he quickly helps her into the truck, then drives back home. And in the days that followed, Mia was most likely checked into a mental hospital. 2 years later, the world changes forever. But that's a story for another day. So for now, let's open some fan mail. And the first bit of fan mail today appears to be an unmarked envelope of some sort. Hey, we got a letter. I'm not sure what this language is, though. But for some reason, all that appears to be on this letter is just 4 words. And that's it. Must be a greeting or something. Tell me how you pronounce this. Kunda Strata. Weird language. Montose? Conde. No wait, Conda. Well, hello to you too, whoever you are. Weird language, though. Well, I think that's gonna be it for today. So, my name's John Mortem, and you've been watching Disturbed Kiwi. And I'll see you guys next time for another disturbing breakdown. you know I was gonna be here?
I was watching you, John. I have always been watching you. Don't you remember your nightmare, John? 1 year ago?
I never told anyone about that nightmare. So how do you know about it?
The dream people, John.
For what?
The dream people. They allow me to see things, record things.
If you're here to protect me, then why are you still holding that gun? I am okay now.
Don't you watch the movies, John? As soon as I let my guard down, that's when you go in for the kill.
So what will you do now?
This is the part where I put my gun off screen, pull the trigger,